Well, Griggy, another goal. What a time to get it to book our spot in the playoffs.
Yeah, incredible. Obviously, it's nice to be on the score sheet, but in such an important game, and for the knock-on effect it's had, it was a great feeling.
That's your fourth now since returning from injury, 3 in 3 games, so going into the playoffs in the right kind of form.
Yeah, really good. Yeah, it was nice to be back. It's being injured is really tough, and you just want to help the team as much as possible. So to come back and sort of have an impact that I have is really pleasing. But it doesn't really mean anything if we don't finish with a positive outcome. So 2 massive games coming up.
There was some real kind of heart in mouth moments, but ultimately you got the goal and you kind of just felt like it was going to be our day.
Yeah, a little bit. It was a massive day for us. We were really well prepared, and we knew obviously it wasn't in our hands, but we had to do our bit on the pitch. It sort of sums us up as a group. Obviously I get the goal, but it's a great bit of play from Jensen. Great little, you talk about Ryan hitting the post or whatever, but if he's not in the right place at the right time, it doesn't come back to me. So sort of a really good team goal, and then Mandy's tackle in the 95th minute and Booty's save in the 96th. It sort of sums up our sort of collectiveness, and the way the boys defended, putting bodies on their line. Fads and palms were excellent. So it's obviously nice for me to sort of get that headline with the goal, but it was a massive team performance.
Yeah, like you say, we did our job, but obviously it wasn't completely in our hands. Luckily, Carlisle did us a favour. How aware were you and the rest of the lads of what was going on?
Very. It's one of those things. The gaffer's really good at sort of just making sure we concentrate on ourselves. But I think when the fans cheered after about 15 minutes and then again at 20, it's really difficult. You're trying to concentrate on your job and what you're doing. But yeah, trust me, we are well aware, and the fans made sure of that. So obviously going in at 1-0, we were the boys checked the results. We were well aware of it, and then in the second half as well. So I think the worst bit for me was probably I came off for the last 10 minutes, and trust me, that is the worst bit by a mile. I think I sort of felt how it felt to be a fan for those last 10 minutes, and that was nail biting stuff, and I'd much rather be out on the pitch, to be honest.
Yeah, the fans obviously played a big part and great scenes at the end. It's a bit of like, you can't celebrate too soon because you've only just got in the playoffs, but I think there's definitely been moments this season where getting in the playoffs would have been amazing. Yeah,
that's the thing. It's difficult. I think if you look at where the club was 3 years ago, and we're in the playoffs for League Two to get into League One, it's an incredible story. The expectation at the start of the season, without all the sort of adversity on and off the pitch, it might have been a slightly different story. But to get ourselves in the playoffs the way we did, not having been in there since the end of December, is an unbelievable achievement, and that's credit to everyone involved at the club. And you talk about the fans. I think the stats in terms of we've had more than 1,000 fans at every away game is absolutely ridiculous. I think it's maybe they don't see it, but us as players, we go to away grounds, and the players and staff genuinely can't believe how much support we have. We've gone away to games in League Two, and it's felt like a home game, and that's massive credit to them, and we really, really appreciate that. So to be able to sort of half celebrate that on Saturday was really nice. Obviously it's great to put a smile on their faces, but we know there's it's half a job done, and we've got 2 massive games to try and get us to Wembley.
Yeah, no time to dwell. Obviously, you're back in the building this week. It's Walsall in the semi-finals. They'll be gutted that they've missed out on automatics, but I guess a bit of a cliche, but form goes out the window in these kind of games.
Yeah, unfortunately it does. It's it's 2 cup finals now, and whatever we might say, Walsall obviously really disappointed, and they'll have been gutted on Saturday. But they're the best team in the playoffs. They finished 4th, and we're going into this game as underdogs. So they've had an incredible season, going into it as favourites. So. Yeah, it's one of those things, a little bit of momentum, but a cup final, anyone can win on the day, and we'll do everything we can to prepare properly and make sure we're ready for the game, but we know it's going to be a really, really difficult one.
Former club of yours, but I imagine that's the last thing on your mind. Yeah,
obviously, I owe so much to the club. I came through there in the youth system and made my debut, and my first 20-goal season there. So it's a club that's always going to be close to my heart, and I'm really appreciative to and of. But like I said, that goes out the window as well as form, and all the sort of sentimental stuff goes out the window because I'll be doing everything I can to try and win that game.
Lastly, we've already touched on the power of the supporters, but it's going to be a great atmosphere here at the SMH Group Stadium. Most of the tickets have already sold. How much can they add to the atmosphere?
Yeah, you know, they've been unbelievable the whole season. You know, it's going to be a high pressure game. There's going to be obviously loads going on it, but we know that they can be our 12th man and help us massively. So, you know, all we can ask for is just to carry on that support, keep doing what they've been doing week in, week out, and, you know, we'll do everything we can to try and give them something to cheer about.
Well, it's been a great achievement to reach the playoffs, and all the best in the semi-finals.
Thanks very much.